A commentary by Bhakti Vigyan Goswami Maharaj. I'll read a couple of paragraphs that we may have read it, but it would be nice with the connection about the humility and our relationship with Guru. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains why a person does not get spiritually attached and instead the uncontrolled senses lead to hell. Punaha punashi charvita charvananam. Again and again we chew what has already been chewed. Inside we have a certain subtle concept or ego which we have not given up. Even having taken up the path of bhakti, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that there is only one solution, is humility. That's what we coincidentally hear this song. If we have taken up the path of bhakti, we must surrender with complete humility. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in his purport to this verse of the Manaha Siksha, quote, as soon as the mind allows trifle thoughts to come in, immediately deception or hypocrisy appears. Hypocrisy starts attacking and soul again. When one's heart has been completely cleansed by humility, it will never again open its door to deception. And that's the reason Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given so much importance to the third verse of Sikshastika. So we will continue today. Humility and our relationship with Guru, the title of this topic. We need one single attribute, complete absolute humility. In this humility, I must fold my palms and say, quote, yes, I'm fallen. But I don't want to be like this anymore, unquote. This attitude constitutes honesty to ourselves. This complete humility begins with my surrendering this most subtle concept, my false ego, to my Guru. Krishna explained this in Bhagavad Gita 4:34. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya updaksyanti te jnanastattva darsaniha. In our relationship with Guru, we must practice humility of body, mind, and speech. Guru will give us sambandha or a connection with Krishna. Through the connection with the spiritual master, I will become aware of my connections with Krishna. When I have a relationship with Krishna, I will develop interest in everything related to Krishna. We must actually understand what the Guru likes and doesn't like, and act for the Guru, not for our own self. The humility that appears in the mind is when a person does not act out of self-interest, but rather wants to serve and do what the other person wants us to do. With no actual relationship with the spiritual master, This attitude is practically impossible because we will still continue in one way or another to retain our subtle pride. Sooner or later, it will grow more and more. The subtle will then become gross. Bhakti means to find this problem in ourselves and start dealing with it. Therefore, sadhana bhakti start with Guru Pad Ashraya Tasmat. We must go to the spiritual master and take shelter of his lotus feet. We must give up everything else. Guru Padashraya Tasmat. After that comes Krishna Dikshadi Sikshanam. We must take Diksha. People think they have received a Diksha and now they are free to go. I have been given a name, my beats, and that's it. But after Diksha, we must receive Shiksha. Diksha was given to young boys who started studying the scriptures. Diksha is the first step. And Siksha means I try to do what we are told. We try to show not ourselves, but what we are told by the spiritual master. As a result, humility appears. Humility allows us to attain Shabandha or a relationship with Krishna through our relationship with the spiritual master. Because it is the spiritual master alone who gives these connections. Without connection, there is nothing. The meaning of our relationship with Guru is not to make yet another cult of personality. Srila Prabhupada warned us against this in a letter to Govinda Dasi. In her letter, Govinda Dasi had written to Srila Prabhupada saying how she loved him. Srila Prabhupada replied, quote, I liked very much those beautiful feelings you have described in your letter. However, you should never forget that all our activities are carried out in accordance with the parampara originating from Lord Sri Krishna. Therefore, your love must be directed not so much toward the physical manifestation of the Guru, but toward the spiritual message he carries. By lovingly serving the teachings of our Guru, we prove our love for his physical manifestation. Unquote. Srila Prabhupada said we must be devoted not to the cult of personality, but devoted to the what he teaches and surrender to what he teaches. We must overcome this most subtle obstacle that envelop our soul, because if we do not remove it, ultimately it will prevent us from truly hearing about Radha and Krishna. If we attain this sabandha or humility, if we attain love for Krishna, then everything else will come to us. Raghunath Das Goswami is teaching us here to very honestly and frankly see the deceit in ourselves. We must take devotional service very seriously. It is never too late to start. Krishna is infinitely merciful and can give us complete happiness. Therefore, in our bhajan, we must show two qualities: honesty or simplicity, frankness. The second is determination to go to the end by any means. So if we have these two qualities, we will certainly be successful on this wonderful path of bhakti. So from tomorrow we will be embarking on reading the commentary by Urmila Devidasi. Now we will read from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. We are on the volume number 4, chapter title, India Dancing White Elephants. So I'll read just last paragraph that we read yesterday, and then we will continue. The next day, the press was full of stories of Prabhupada and his movement. The Times of India picked up on a particular angle. Quote, this is in a bold letter. US millionaire sons seek solace in Krishna society, unquote. The article told of Giriraj renouncing his father's wealth to join Prabhupada's movement. One newspaper quoted Giriraj, quote, my father works hard and earns fabulous money. He also fights with my mother. My sisters run away from the house. Thus, in spite of material comforts, nobody is happy, unquote. Quoting Shyam Sundar, quote, my father is very rich, but he has to take sleeping tablets every night, unquote. And there were other articles. So that's where we stop. And it was nice to know that during my trip, there was one gentleman who was 83-year-old. And one day it happened that I was sitting right in front of him. And before he can take the dinner, his wife was bringing out the pouch and bringing all kind of medicines. First I saw was at least 20 capsules. And I was saying, wow, look at that old age, what it can bring. The dinner, medicine will become our dinner. And before even I start thinking anything, as soon as he finished this 20 capsule, his wife bringing out another pouch, pour another 20 tablets. And I was watching him and hope that I don't have to take shelter of any allopathy medicines. Horrible. How much toxin we are putting in the body. And it didn't stop. After he finished his dinner, his wife take it out his pouch again. That medicine he has to take after the meal. He must have taken at least 45, 50 capsules. And I was thinking, what a life. So this material world is definitely a place of suffering. It's just a matter of time. We are hitting the old age, at least I can say. We will forget even where we have put our car keys. Those days are very close. So let's continue. Soon letters appeared in the letters column of the Times of India as follows. As far as my knowledge goes, these foreign Hindus of the Hare Krishna movement cannot be equal to the native original Brahmanas and Hindus. They will have to be relegated to the lower caste. It is significant to see one of the newly converted sadhus, Sri Gopal Das, formerly Charles Pollen of Chicago, stated that he was a construction worker formerly and doing Sudra's work. It would thus become necessary to allot the 3 lower castes to this foreign converts according to their profession. Another later stated, quote, the Hare Krishna movement is just a sporadic fad of sentimentalists, unquote. Prabhupada said these letters should be answered, and he personally outlined replies, delegating their writing to specific disciples. Within a few days, Prabhupada's replies appeared in the press as follows. In India, even amongst the Brahmanas in different provinces, there is no social intercourse. So if they are socially accepted or not doesn't matter. For example, amongst the qualified legal practitioner in different provinces, there may not be social intercourse, but that does not mean they are not qualified lawyers. This is a cultural movement, and if the whole world accepts this cult, even though Indian Brahmanas do not accept it, will do no harm at all. We are not striving for social or political unity, but if Krishna consciousness is accepted there, will automatically be political, social, and religious unity. The fact that one of our boys was a construction worker does not mean that he belongs to the Sudra community. The Sudra community is the less intelligent class or illiterate class who have no information of the value of life. In America, even the highest cultured and educated person can go to work as an ordinary construction worker because they accept the dignity of labor. So although a boy was working as a construction worker in America, he is not a Shudra. But even if he is accepted as a Shudra, Lord Krishna says that anyone who comes to him is eligible to be elevated to the highest position of going back home, back to Godhead. In a letter signed by Giriraj, Prabhupada refuted the charge that his movement was a sporadic fad of sentimentalist, unquote. How can our movement be sporadic when this science was taught in Gita 5,000 years ago and instructed to the sun god millions of years before that? How can it be called sporadic when our activity is Sanatana Dharma, the eternal occupation of living entity? Would faddists give up all meat eating, intoxicant, illicit sex, and gambling for over 5 years now? Would faddists give up friends, family, and money and get up at 4 a.m. daily, ready to go to any country in the world and preach in any conditions immediately on the request of their spiritual master? Prabhupada saw all news coverage of the Krishna consciousness movement as an aid to propagating Krishna consciousness. Even by criticizing the Krishna consciousness movement, he said, the papers were broadcasting the holy name of Krishna, and Krishna's name was absolute. Mr. Saxeria held a special program for many important dignitaries of Bombay. Although he had expected no more than 200 persons, many more came. They were Bombay's elite, the women dressed in expensive silk saris and wearing gold and jewels, and many in silk Nehru collared suits or white starch dhotis and kurtas. Prabhupada held kirtan with his disciples, and then he spoke briefly and gravely. Quote, "You are all very intelligent persons," unquote, he said. "You are all very learned and educated. You are all very great persons. I beg you, I take the straw of the street between my teeth, and I beg you, just chant Hare Krishna. Please chant Hare Krishna." Unquote. That's all Prabhupada spoke. So after his talk, Prabhupada left. How many lines? 4 lines Prabhupada spoke. When dignitary of the Bombay, more than 200 audience was there. This is special. After his talk, Prabhupada left and the devotees showed slides of the Hare Krishna movement's activity around the world. They also made their first public live membership appeal. And Mr. G.D. Somani, one of the India's leading industrialists, as well as Mr. Saksariya signed on as members. Prabhupada's request to them was to chant Hare Krishna. Haribol. Although Prabhupada was happy to see the number of his council life members increasing, that his shipment of books from the Nippon had not yet arrived, made him anxious. The devotees were promising life members books, but where were these books? Every day the problem became more and more pronounced. Prabhupada learned of a Calcutta port strike. His books has apparently arrived, but the ship, unable to unload cargo in Calcutta, had left port. He worried that the ship would unload the books in some other Indian port. The exact whereabouts and condition of the books, however, remain unknown. Prabhupada was greatly concerned. He decided to send a competent disciple, Tamal Krishna, to Calcutta to try and retrieve the books. Meanwhile, he would continue preaching, depending on Krishna. Amritsar, October 21st, 1970. Accompanied by a group of disciples, in parentheses, 7 men and 2 women, parentheses over. Prabhupada began the 2-day train ride from Bombay to Amritsar. Years ago, Prabhupada had traveled as a preacher in India alone, riding the train to Jhansi, Delhi, Kanpur, Calcutta, and Bombay to publish Back to Godhead and solicit support. After only 5 years in the West, he now had the great advantage of sincere disciples. And now the Indians were taking notice. It has stationed Achyutanand Swami, Jai Pataka Swami, Hansaduta, and others in Calcutta, Tamal Krishna, Shyam Sundar, and others in Bombay. His disciple would make life members and try to establish permanent ISKCON center in 2 of India's major cities. I remember one pastimes that one time Tamal Krishna Maharaj went to make the membership and the person was drunk. And he said to Tamal Krishna Maharaj that I will become a life member provided you allow me to pour a little drink on your head. Just see the determination to please Guru. They accepted those and he made them the life membership. There you go. If you are there in that situation, we will say, heck with it. His Krishna consciousness movement was beginning in India, and he wanted to travel with his disciple wherever there was an opportunity to preach. Just he had worked in America, never settling comfortably in one place, always traveling, speaking about Krishna, meeting new people, and offering them devotional service. So he would also work in India. The train arrived at Kurukshetra station. Near here, said Prabhupada, Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago. They say it does not exist. A mythological place. It is a symbol of the field of the body and the senses, they say. It is an allegorical place. But here we are at the station, unquote. As he spoke, the sun was setting and a bright orange sky shone over the flat land. Quote, how can they say Kurukshetra is not a real place? Unquote. And he continued, here it is before us, and it has been a historical place for a long, long time. When the train arrived at Amritsar station, member of the Vedanta Sammelan committee received Prabhupada and escorted him and his disciple to a park on the outskirts of the city. They showed him the large pandal the Niketan ashram had erected for the Vedanta Sammelan and assigned him and his disciple their quarters. 3 small rooms. Prabhupada took one room, the 2 women and second room, and 4 of the men crowded into the third, leaving 3 men to sleep outdoor on cots. The first night in the northern climate was cold. Available bedding was meager, and none of the devotees has brought warm clothing. At 4 the next morning, the devotees congregated in Srila Prabhupada's room for Mangala Arati and Kirtan before the deities of Radha and Krishna. The same deities who had been traveling with Prabhupada for the past 1.5 years. Despite the austere conditions, the devotees felt fortunate to have such intimate contact with Prabhupada and Radha and Krishna. Prabhupada played mridanga, leading the chanting of prayers to the spiritual master. Afterward, he had the pujari distribute to each devotee a bit of the fruit and sweetmeats that had just been offered to the deities. It was still before sunrise, and the room was chilly. As the devotees sat huddled beneath a naked bulb, Prabhupada had them read aloud from Srimad Bhagavatam. That same morning, Prabhupada attended the Vedanta Sammelan, and there were thousands of people in the audience. And since most of them did not understand English, Prabhupada spoke in Hindi. His presentation pleased everyone, and the committee members honored him by making him president of the Vedanta Sammelan. Although the program was scheduled only for several hours in the morning and evening, Prabhupada did not limit his preaching to these times. He preached every hour of the day. While he sat in his room, A constant stream of guests came to see him. Hundreds of pious Hindu seeking his blessings, recognizing this vestige of Vedic culture. He pointed it out to his disciple. Quote, just see, he said, how they treat a saintly person. Prabhupada also began receiving the usual flood of invitation to visit the homes of Hindu families. He accepted as many invitations as possible, more than possible, it seems to his disciples. So I think it's 6:52. I think we should stop here so it will be a nice continuation of the topic. And also in continuation with the inquiry from Manoj Prabhu yesterday, I was dwelling on the more. He asked me yesterday, the devotee who may have to leave, we would like to, before they leave, we would like to offer our humble obeisances at the desk of their feet. Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripasindhubhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So thank you very much for joining, and if Krishna so desire, we will see you tomorrow morning before 2 o'clock, or you can join at your convenient time. So I was thinking one more prominent things that I learned from the gardening. As I mentioned earlier, and that two incidents that I will share with you, that on my backyard, so many weeds was growing, and it was cold, and my wife doesn't want me to go outside and work. So I was meditating in my mind that when they go out, I will sneak out and I will do little cleaning. So when you see this, so many weeds, first of all, we become lazy. Oh, it's not for me. How I will be able to do this? Same thing happen in our devotional life. We sometimes feel it's too much. But if we take little step, as Krishna says, if you take one step, I will take 100 steps toward you, and that's a fact. So what we need to do, just go out and say, I'm just gonna clean this 5 feet of track, that's all. And you will see, because once you take it out the weed, it looks so beautiful. The land, earth, Mother Earth, so glorious. Then you will feel, hey, I can do little more. Slowly and slowly, once you clean it out, it gives so much happiness in our heart to see the garden clean. Very nice soothing atmosphere, like cleansing our heart. So same thing happened, and little deeper realization on the second experience, because I was on a vacation and I have the winding track I made like a Vrindavan, and now I have put the aluminum 4 inches above the ground and 3 inches in the ground, so nothing will grow out from that pathway. Looks beautiful. But when I saw so many weeds, one thing I learned that specific these weeds, they have a very long root, like that long. And unless and until the ground is so wet, it's impossible to remove them. So fortunately, we have so much rain. I can stick my plow, and my son bought it that long handle one, so I don't have to bend too much. It can go 6, 8 inches by my force and take it out with the root. So first I thought it was too much. Then I said, I have to do it anyway. So what I did is I just pluck it out, some of them here and there, So next time you have to go, you will see, oh, this is a less now. So this is how I started. Then I have still little bit left because what happened yesterday, that when I started walking from my house, we do weed out, but still there are some small weeds stay behind. So when I was walking, I said, this is not good. Let me clean out really nice. So I said, forget about cleaning the big weeds at the end, but let me remove these small weeds. And it looks so beautiful. So the point I'm trying to make is, if we do something, then the experience will come. In our devotion also, so many impurities are there. Plug, plug them out in a small way. And then you will see even the small trace of impurities will come in a very light way, that you will be able to focus on it and try to work on those. So this gardening is very, very nice. And then you select the time, that what is the perfect time. Because if you take it out a very young one, that also good. But one thing I learned, that let it grow a little bit, it's easy to take it out with the root. Otherwise you may break the root and again you have the same problem. So that was another. What is that example? Prove is the nectar of instruction, verse number 3. Utsahan Nischaya Dharyat. We have to become enthusiastic to do something good. Unless and until we take steps, you will never see that happiness. If you never take first chance to remove the weeds, you will never experience that happiness, that how wonderful the earth look and smile at you. Removing the unnecessarily burden for the earth. So enthusiasm, and then nischayat, confidence will come. If you do couple of times, then we will get the confidence in us. Yes, we can tackle the obstacle in our life. And Krishna is so kind. He will teach you everything, how to resist those temptations and become stable and avoid those unnecessarily actions. So confidence will come once you do couple of times. Same thing in our devotional practice. The anarthas and the impulse of the senses may come. But if we keep on working slowly and slowly, then small one will also, you will be able to say slowly. And you will start working on it. And there it will teach you also patience. We cannot attain everything in one shot. Never will happen. It's impossible. So we will train, like if you do the gardening, then I know that I sweat to the level that you can squeeze my shirt and you will see the water will flow. Every morning when I do the gardening, I sweat that much. And that is my sign to stop, that it is enough today. So then you have the patience that I won't be able to do, because if you do too much, then next day it would be difficult for your body. And same thing, if you have not, like, this is not the weed will come regularly. Now it will take like maybe 1 month before you will see those. So there will be a gap of your workload. So what happens is, if you have the break on a first day, you don't do too much. If you go too much, your body will need to cut, and then next day you will feel, oh, I don't want to do it. So start slowly. Become stable. Just do 15 minutes of gardening first day. So let your body get used to. Second day you may go for half an hour. third day you can go for 45 minutes and one. But have that consistencies that this is need to be done, and then your eyes will be open. Okay, now this thing is happened. Now I have to do this. I have to do this. So similarly in the spiritual life, we have to take some steps, and we have to remain fixed. Somehow or other, we have to bring steadiness, whatever we want to do. And I always advise that start with some time that you can afford to join, and slowly you increase the time. If you don't increase the time, that also it's like laziness. That's all I can say, because this process is so wonderful. You will feel so good. So then at the end, like, now I can work for an hour and a half very nicely, because you feel this work will be done. It will look so beautiful. So similarly in devotional life, start slowly, become stable and fixed. No irregularity should comes into the practices. And that's what we are reading in the monahasics also: determination and simplicity, truthfulness should come in our life. And without the determination, we will not go nowhere. Always we will feel unqualified or unable to achieve some goals. That's natural. But that doesn't mean that we should not progress. Always my Guru Maharaj used to say, go one step extra that you feel you won't be able to take that step. Try it. And when we try it, Krishna will see the sincerity in our heart. And if you are genuinely thinking to make advancement in spiritual life, Krishna will certain adjustment in our life, so we can pursue those very nicely and steadily. Because steadfastness must come. We must become steady in our practices. Do little, but steady. And then you increase slowly and become fixed for a certain time. And then you can increase. Like in a simple language, when we walk, we don't lift another leg until we feel comfortable with the one leg on the ground. That we, yes, I'm grounded nicely, I can lift another feet. So similarly in spiritual life, constantly we have to make some improvement. Constantly. Otherwise we will be lagging. Time is the essence, and time goes very quickly. Sun rises, sun come on the top, and sunset. We lose one day of our life. So if we are not marching along with that sun movement, we will remain far behind to reach our goal. So somehow or other we have to use some extra steps or extra risk, my Guru Maharaj used to say. But take the risk that if it didn't work, you should not feel, oh, what happened? Just take the little risk. And then you will see, oh, yeah, I can do it. Slowly and slowly you will be able to take a big risk for Krishna. So today also I will have to go for the hearing aid test because I cannot hear. So I'm gonna go and check it out, my ear, see that what is needed. We are getting old, so we have to take care as much as we can. So I have set up time, so I want to leave at 7:30. So I have 25 minutes to get ready.